Howdy, I'm Grey Pilgrim. Well, recently I did a, oh heck, let me get this up here, just a scotch, there. Recently I did a video on revolvers. Not really in depth, just discussing ones I have. But this is more the history of revolvers. In the 1840s, Sam Colt came up with this idea, and he started a company he called was the Patterson Company, and he developed what became known as the Patterson revolver. That one I don't have because it's kind of rare, and even the facsimiles are just as expensive as the originals are now, and nobody else is making them now. But the Patterson basically went bankrupt. But a couple of fellows who dealt with that particular revolver. One guy was named Coffee Hayes, and the other was named Sam Walker. Went and looked for Colt afterwards to see if they could get him to build something else for him. Well, his company had gone bankrupt, and all his tooling was gone. But he ran into Walker, and he sat down and decided that they'd design a better revolver. And what they came up with was this, the Colt Walker. It's a massive horse pistol. It weighs a ton, and basically you can't wear this on your hip. You got to wear it on a saddle holster. And it's designed specifically to take a horse out. Well, that was in 1847. And this is what really started it all. Patterson sort of started it, but this really started it. Because it springboarded Colt back into making revolvers, because he now had enough cash to really branch out. And the next thing he came up with was this in 1849, the Colt Pocket. And the Colt Pocket, well, first of all, this was in 44 caliber. This one is in 31. It's a much smaller pistol, but it's just right for fitting in your pocket. And it was well received by the people of the time. This is 1849, and 1849 is well remembered as the time of the gold rush. And fellows in the gold rush, they would love to have one of these in their pocket. Next one that came out was this one. This is called, oh wait a minute, this is the 1849, right the first time. And this is what was called the Wells Fargo. It really wasn't, but that's the name that stuck with it. Basically, it's a chopped down 1849 with no loading lever, and that basically it just fits in your pocket, and what you have to do is pull the pin out, pull off the barrel and the cylinder, and then load it without being on the gun. Well, this is great, except it's just a 31 caliber. It has about the power of a modern 22 short. I mean, it isn't much. Well, in 1862, after many other gun designs, the 1851, the Navy, the 1860 Army, Colt came up with this. This is the last gun. Colonel Colt died in 1862, and this came out in 1862. This is the 1862 Pocket Police. It's a 36. It's a 5-shot. And it's an elegant pistol. I think it's the most elegant of this style of pistol made. And if I had to carry a cap and ball pistol, this is what I'd carry. But it's a nice little thing. Well, meanwhile, because of certain things, including a fire that happened at the Colt factory that put them back, a year or two in production. And at the time that the government was in the middle of the Civil War and needed as many rifles or revolvers as they could get their hands on, another company named Remington came up in 1858 with this design they called it the New Army. I don't have one out here. I've got a couple of them up on the wall, but the 1858 was a great design, but it was a big, massive pistol. It was in both 36 and 44, depending. But it was a holster pistol. They looked, though, at the Colt, well, first of all, this one was the bestseller until 1873 of all of these. Colt sold more of these guns than any other. And until 1873, when they went to the regular shells, this was the pistol everybody wanted. Well, Remington, in like manner, in 1863, finally came out with a version of their new army that was a pocket size. And this is it. This is called the Remington Pocket. It's the 31. They went back to the 31. But it's a little more handy and quite a bit smaller than the Colt. The Colts, they did make these with a shorter barrel. Never could find one of those. I'm still in the market for one if I can ever find one. But this one is actually a better design pistol than these. Though this one is a little bit stiff there. Because all of the repros I've had, the springs on these are just not quite up to snuff. And I need to do something about that. I haven't figured out a real way of doing it. I'm not much of a gunsmith in that respect, but another YouTuber, goes by the Wild Snapper, suggested ways of treating that spring to get a little bit more oomph to it. But this one, in the meantime, will do just fine. Like I said, if I was carrying, I'd carry one of these. But actually, because it's a 36, I think I'd carry this. Though I'd like a shorter barrel version of it. Anyway, pocket pistols as they existed in the mid-19th century, before the advent of the cartridge gun. Remember, at the time, Smith & Wesson held the Roland White patent, and the Roland White patent was a patent on carrying on the enclosed cartridge in a bored-through cylinder. So you had cylinders on these things, but they all had caps in the back, or nipples for caps in the back. Smith & Wesson, all they did with their patent was make guns like these up here, the small 22 shorts, well, what they called the 22 at the time, and it was a black powder round, and it had really mediocre ballistics to it. Nothing like the horse pistol that started it all. But these are still dang good pistols, and they work well. At least the 1863 sure does, and I really like it. Oh, I was going to say, this is my Missouri Meerschaum church warden, and I'm smoking a commercial brand called Sir Walter Raleigh. So probably the only, well, there's only two commercial brands I ever smoked. One is Sir Walter Raleigh, and the other is Captain Black. My dad smoked Sir Walter Raleigh, which is what got me off on this to begin with, because I found an old can of his that he had never opened and went, oh, this is almost, this is like fermented for about a dozen years, and it's actually much better than the modern stuff. Cured tobacco will last a long time and will actually improve over the years, to a degree. I mean, I have some cigars that came from my great-grandfather. They're so dried out and so brittle, and I tried one of them, and not so good. But, you know, that cured and aged Sir Walter Raleigh, that was pretty darn good. Anyway, though I still prefer my early morning pipe or my other tobacconist blends that I can pick up, because they're a little milder than the commercial stuff. Anyway, that's on another topic. I should have started with that. Pocket pistols, really cool idea. Happy trails. Ugh, come on.